Good day, rock stars. How are you doing? You know, I like doing this free form content. I think it works a lot better for me. It allows me to have more interesting clippets and smaller cuts for shorts. I've recorded a couple planned out pieces already. One was a deep dive where I did a lot of research, and one was a product review recently, and I eventually will get to posting these. It's just when I have this sort of rehearsed content, I stumble more on my words. I say a lot more, which my wife pointed out is sort of giving me a complex. And it takes a lot more editing. Plus, I have to input more graphics. It's more of a fun project, but it's more involved for sure. And it teaches me that I have to practice my public speaking, at least for rehearsed stuff. When you're operating off the cuff like this, it feels more natural, like a conversation. It flows more naturally. It's the subject matter. Content might be a little schizophrenic, a little all over the place. But it doesn't sound as awkward overall. I don't know, you be the judge. But I feel sometimes as if when I do this off the cuff content, it's almost like there's something channeling it through me, like a spiritual being or something. I think a positive spiritual being feels positive, feels like good thoughts and good messages are being put through me, to be put out into the ether. So yeah, I call on my spirit guides to help me channel their energy, help me channel their content. Let me be some sort of divine messenger, if you will. I had very intense dreams again last night. Two very intense dreams, and they were sort of nightmarish. They were scary. They were some of the two nightmarish dreams I've had in as long as I can remember. So let me go into them. I want to say that, before I forget, that when I have these terrible dreams, no matter how dark and scary and hopeless they are, and how much I feel like I'm trying to wake up and can't, when I do finally wake up and realize that it was just a dream, it feels empowering. It feels like I wake up going, all right, sweet, it didn't happen, and I kind of take them as receiving a message. And though I don't believe that this is a message that these things would happen literally, but almost as a metaphor. And the reason I had these intense dreams, it was trying to teach me that how to prevent these sort of nightmarish scenarios from manifesting into my daily life, my waking life. Excuse me. So, the first dream was sort of took place in what you would feel like a stereotypical rundown, abandoned, haunted house, almost very movie-like. And it was to the extreme, the way furniture was left and tousled about and covered with dust and broken hinges and peeling wallpapers and paint, and just it's a mess, almost slightly Victorian in style too. And there was a couple other people present with me in this dream. I believe my wife was there. And I couldn't really, it's hard for me to like see people's physical faces in my dreams a lot of the time, but I feel that they're, like when I'm interacting with this being in my dream, I feel the presence. I know who the person is. And I knew that it was my wife that was beside me in this dream. And we were in this dark, haunted house together. And it was scary, and we both felt threatened by whatever presence was in the house. There was a need, though, to not leave the house and to stay locked inside, because there was, though the spirits in the house were quite potentially dangerous and threatening, there were physical people or beings somewhere outside the house that were definitely physically threatening, that we had to guard ourselves against. So we wanted to make sure that we were not known. It's almost as if we were in hiding. And we wanted to make sure the doors were locked. I remember that because there was one point in which I wanted to make sure the door was locked and we were safe. And I realized the door was off of its hinges and that anyone could have came in had they known that this was a place they could look for us. Don't know who was looking for us, just the strong vibe I got. And I felt that, also I felt the presence of my son in my dream. My infant son or toddler, he's almost 2. I guess you don't call that a toddler, reaching on toddler. And for some reason, he wasn't a main point in the dream for me to notice, because there was something about his presence that I knew wasn't being threatened by the spirits in this house. As if because of his young age, his soul was more pure and was not a concern for me to protect him against these evil spirits. If anything, it was the presence of the physical beings outside the house that we were needing to guard against the most, again. And there was somebody else. It was a friend. It wasn't a threatening person. They were also in hiding. They arrived later in the dream, and we were explaining how potentially dangerous this house was, but this was our only option at the moment. What was strange about this house, though, is after I had this dream, I remembered that I have had 2 dreams previously, at least 2, in this very same house. I remembered this place. I've been there in dreams before, and I've talked about this in a previous video, revisiting places I've been to before. I did not remember, in my waking life, I had not remembered this house until revisiting it last night in my dream. And that I found particularly alluring. I'm still sort of working out the meaning of this dream. I believe it was spiritual. The meaning of this dream, or the message I'm supposed to receive, is spiritual in nature. But it was almost as if, as long as I could maintain a purity of spirit, that I would not be threatened by these spirits in this house. That these spirits in this house were dangerous. They weren't evil. if I had evil in my heart, then these spirits could have been very dangerous to me. They were benevolent. And I think there was one point that they lashed out. And it was one point where I thought about taking something or stealing something from this house as a memento. I believe we left the house in the dream. The dream sort of dissipated when we realized what the game was and that there was no more message to be learned. Once the message was communicated to me, the dream dissipated. And I believe that's how dreams work. Though it might not end the way you think it should end, like a movie. I believe that the dream ends once the message has been communicated in full. I have been going through a lot of transformations lately in my life. For those who are familiar with my content, you know that I've quit a lot of vices. I've quit smoking weed, and I've done my best to quit drinking. I still have about 8 beer or 2 a day. I've not breached 2, except for 4th of July. Yesterday I had 1, and I stopped. But you know, a taste of beer with my fancy cheddar cheese and my garden herb Triscuit crackers, it really smacks. I'm not trying to get drunk. I just really like the taste of a beer. With pairs with those things, it's really good. But so I quit some vices, and it seems as if the world is opening up a whole new avenue of thought and research. I'm going through somewhat of a spiritual transformation, maybe even breaching on a religious transformation, who knows. I'm starting to notice things about the world around me in reality that I was blind to before. I was numbing myself to this spiritual reality, and getting the feeling that we're all running out of time here on this planet. We'll leave that for a different video. So the second dream, also nightmarish. I was having a disagreement with someone I know, and we were sort of in a fight. The physical fight was childish in nature. There wasn't any punches thrown. Actually, it involved splashing paint in a sort of mean manner on each other. And the manner in which I rebutted the initial attack was nasty, and the initial attack felt like an assassination on my character, on my spirit, and the rebuttal in the dream was a reactionary response that had a mean-hearted need to get you back feeling to it. This person took umbrance, and I saw this person's face in my dream, and this person at this point wanted to physically hurt me, and they started chasing me. And this was a dream where I was hiding and running away. It was in a sort of a urban environment, slightly city-like, but the streets are very wide. There wasn't a lot of cars or regular people milling but it wasn't like it was a little bit suburban, reaching on the edge of urban, and like there was a lot of buildings around that were sort of officey and places for me to hide. There was, I don't know if you're familiar with the urban legend of the back rooms. One of the places that I had a very back rooms feel to it. One of those sort of orangey, sort of empty office spaces where the rooms just kind of keep going on. That was towards the end and this person had organized a posse of people that were all coming to get me. And I didn't see their faces. I didn't know the exact members of the posse. A lot of them were people that I did know. One of them that was sort of leading the posse, other than my friend who had organized it, I call this person a friend, was someone I didn't know, but they were much bigger than me and saw me as a problem that needed to be extinguished, as a bug that needed to be squashed. And when I was inside in one of these backroom areas, this posse, and I knew who the posse, like I sort of like vibe that I knew the group of people, but I didn't know exactly the people that were making up the group. But when this posse cornered me, there was some sort of authority figure there. And thank God this authority figure stepped in at that zero moment, that 0 hour there in the dream, to basically make the judgment of how this situation, how this dispute should be handled. And, from my side, it was not without punishment. I remember there was some sort of task or something I had to do in response to my side, my bad, and it was just. But there was a vibe that the other person didn't get what they wanted out of it. They wanted me squashed, and they didn't get that. And after the judgment, they sort of lost their power from the posse. The posse didn't give them the heed that they had previously. Trying to figure out still, this was the second dream, and this was one that I kept really wanting to wake up from, and I couldn't. I felt like I knew I was, in fact, actually the first one I felt, Haunted House, I knew that was more of a dream. This one felt at times where that was my reality. I was stuck in that. I think this might be reflected, I believe this is reflected of an actual situation that the dream was warning me about. And I'm glad I had the dream, because I can now guard against my reaction to this individual if I'm feeling attacked. And essentially, as long as I'm not reactionary, there'll be no problem. That this person was trying to draw a reaction from me, and that's what they really wanted, and they were prepared to turn a group of people against me once I reacted. Like I was trying to be pushed. And in that essence, when I reacted, I let them win. And I think this was a larger message too. When you're going through a transformation, physically and spiritually, people that have known you and known you to be a certain way forever won't understand it. And people that have a natural state of being sort of a bully will attack things that they don't understand, things that are different. They will, if they don't like things that they don't understand, they want everyone to be like them. And anything that's not like them has to be wrong, has to be evil, and must be extinguished. Going through this spiritual transformation and realizing that I don't have a lot of time to connect with the being I need to be. I need to do it fast. I need to surround myself with things, activities, and spirits and other individuals that will benefit my personal growth. And when I find that something is not benefiting my personal growth, whether it's an activity or a job or a friendship, I must detach myself from it because it's holding me back. And certain people, when you try to detach yourself from them, they will take umbrance. They will feel like it's their ego will make them feel like it's a personal attack against them. They won't understand that you just need to, like, I need to take some time by myself to go through the spiritual reawakening until I'm ready to sort of come out the other side anew. And, you know, I sort of need to spend some time working on myself, being selfish, and kind of being a hermit before I am able to go back out into the world again as a new individual. I've spent a large portion of my life trying to fit in, trying to appeal to other people, the needs of other people, the opinions of other people, trying to change to fit in, and trying to change to conform. And it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve my life. It doesn't help me get ahead. And I've done that for too long. It's not a bad thing to be selfish. And you know, at a certain point, trying to appeal to other people was working against me. And even those other people wouldn't like it when I would try to appeal to them. When I am myself, I will attract the right kind of people who I need in my life, which will benefit my growth. And through being a positive spiritual creature, I hopefully will thus benefit their growth. But until I can be confident and happy, then I'm going to negatively affect people around me. And that's what this is about. I am no good to the world if I'm no good to myself. So these dreams, nightmarish and scary, and at times a little too real, were very important and offered very important spiritual messages that I needed to hear. And for the last couple of days, I was feeling weighted down by negativity that I had been picking up, and it's hard to shake it. And these scary dreams revived me and reminded me of my purpose. And hopefully my spirit guides who are listening have been here this entire ride, and maybe they've been channeling this message through me. My best of luck to all of you with your own personal growth. You won't be able to change your present situation in life. If you're unhappy and you want more, you want to be better, you need to change. And it starts with changing your personal habits. It starts by quitting a couple vices. It starts by, changing your routine at the very least. You need to do these things in order to become a new person and become a better person. And we all should be striving to constantly to better ourselves. And don't be afraid. People will attack you as you fight for personal growth, and you have to ignore it, and you have to walk away from it, and you have to do what's best for you. And I'll leave you with that. Love you all. Stay true. Rock and roll. Peace out.